Well, if we talk about the last 12 months, I think personally, the 12 months have just been an absolute whirlwind. I think I look at, this time last year, I was only just starting my first Matildas tournament in a long time. So I think from that journey and like if I look back on what I did, I think I really focused on one game at a time because I mean personally I didn't know if I was going to have the next game or if I was going to get dropped, whatever the circumstance was going to be. So I always personally really focus on just the next game and not looking too far ahead because I think that's when I maybe start to get a little bit ahead of myself and start to worry about the wrong things and just like unnecessary stress, which I don't obviously like to cause myself. So yeah, I think that's worked for me in the past. And that's something that I want to still keep doing. Obviously, it's hard not to think about the Olympics coming up. Especially personally, I haven't really been involved too much in Olympic Games before. So yeah, it's definitely something I'm looking forward to. But at the same time, personally, for my game, it's just something that I need to focus on one game at a time and just make sure my performances stay to keep me in the team, I suppose.
So at the evening that I'm talking to you right now, I've just come from the Australian Sports Commission Sports Media Awards. And, there was a lot of discussion on the night up on the stage with a number of the winners talking about this moment that the Matildas represented and how it actually changed Australian sporting landscape. How does that make you feel as having played a part in that history-making moment in Australian sport?
A little bit overwhelming, if you ask me. Like, it's so crazy to realize the impact that we had on our country just through playing football. And I think going into it, we always hoped that. I remember doing interviews before the World Cup and just saying that I hope we can do what the Lionesses did to England when they won the Euros. And I think that we've done that and more. And I think going into the World Cup, we weren't really sure how Australia was going to perceive us. And obviously, it's not the biggest footballing country, or it wasn't at the time. So we weren't really sure how it was going to go. And to just see how it progressed game by game and see everyone jump on board and get behind us. And I think it's even cool to know that since the World Cup, it hasn't dropped off. Like it wasn't just, the pinnacle of the World Cup and that was it. It's like the support every time we come home. I think it's like another wake up call of like what we've actually done, because I think you go back to England and you don't really hear too much of it, and you're sort of out of the spotlight a little bit being over there because they're more focused on the Lionesses. So every time we come home and we hear about these things and we see all the fans and those stadiums are still sold out, like it's honestly so crazy, but so grateful to be a part of it, and it's something that I think we're going to hold close to our hearts for a very long time.
Is it something that you've been able to kind of put into a perspective, or is it still something that's a bit of it's a wonder, you know? It's something that is amazing that you can't quite wrap your head around. I mean, I'm a journalist, and my job is to put this into words, and it's very difficult actually to try and pinpoint what it was and how you were able to do what you did. Like, you just kind of surpassed a whole lot of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit hard to put into words, but at the same time, I think it's something that we always knew that we were capable of. I think that, we've always been this same team that's come through. And fortunately enough, we were able to have the World Cup in Australia and have, the whole of Australia be watching at the time. Because I mean, in previous World Cups, it hasn't been ideal time zones and not everything, sort of added up to the ideal situation for us. But then, of course, playing in Australia, having all the eyes on us, as much success as we had as well. I think everything just came together at the right time. And um, yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of drama to it with our Canada game and our France game, and yeah, I think it's added everything to it, and it is sort of crazy to think the amount of the impact that we have had on the country, but at the same time, I do think that we were always capable of this, and it was just we just sort of needed everything to come together at the right time, and I think it did.
And I think as an observer, what I notice is that you are so grounded. You are also grounded as a team, and you've kept that. And I think that is one of the great stories, one of the great sort of characteristics of this Matildas team. And so using that, do you feel like it's a springboard into the Olympics, or is the Olympics something different altogether?
No, of course, I think I mean, we felt the impact of having the whole country behind us in the World Cup. I feel like it really did help towards our success. But it's going to be a different tournament. Obviously, we're not going to be a home country. But it's something that, you know, we finished fourth at the last Olympics. We finished fourth at the World Cup, and I think just those things put together, like it's just we really now want to try and push for a medal, if not gold, because I think it's almost time that we're doing all these great things, but we don't really have anything to show for it at the moment. So I think the Olympics is the perfect time to, yeah, just get that award and just get something to show for it. And I guess something that to be able to just be now to look on and be like, this is what we've done. It was sort of a little bit of a bittersweet moment to see how much of an impact we had at the World Cup, but we didn't really have anything to come home to or to show for it. But yeah, I think it's time at the next Olympics, so should be interesting.
Well, you had a changed nation to show for it. So, you know, you
Yeah,
should take great
yeah,
pride in that because that doesn't happen to every team
yeah.
every year. Yeah. So I know you've been very giving with your time. I thank you very much for that and wish you and the team all the best for Uzbekistan.
Thank you, appreciate it.